Hi, this is Desiree again, because I'm too lazy to write it all out. So here's a short little video. So for this module, I'm doing discussion question 1 about Brady's I Want a Wife. Okay, so Brady uses satire, which is like one of my favorite things ever. I love like political satire and stuff. Anyways, he uses satire to kind of get the message across about the unrealistic expectations we have as a society for women. So throughout the whole thing, it's like it starts out like, oh, my friend wants a wife, but he wants this and this and this and this. Throughout the whole thing, it's like everything that they list is like stereotypical things that wives are supposed to do. And you kind of realize how crazy it is for one person to be able to handle it all. Like in one of the first sentences, it says, I would like to go back to school so that I can become economically independent, support myself, and if need be, support those dependent upon me. I want a wife who will work and send me to school. And while I'm going to school, I want a wife to take care of my children. So that in itself is kind of a contradiction. It says I want a wife to work so I can go back to school. But while I'm at school and while she's supposed to be at work, I want her to take care of my children. So it's like that in the first sentence of the paragraph is crazy to think like that's a lot of work. And then it goes on to say, I want a wife to keep track of the children's doctors and dentist appointments and to keep track of mine. I want a wife to make sure my children eat properly and are kept clean. I want a wife who will wash the children's clothes and keep them mended. It goes on and on and on. I want this. I want my wife to do this, and I want my wife to do that. But it's never, I will do this, and I will do that to help my wife. Because society has built women up as these incredible beings that are just capable of doing all of these things by themselves, but at the same time, when wives can't follow up, like when wives can't fulfill this expectation, we're greatly shamed for it. So it's just another way that society is putting very unrealistic expectations upon us and then not giving us the respect that we deserve for them, if that makes sense. So it goes on to say, let's find it again. My wife must arrange to lose time at work and not lose the job. That in itself is incredibly difficult. I know with personally my job, it's very difficult to take any time off at all because it's important that they have the amount of employees there. So to have a wife, when your kids are sick or when you're sick and they need taken care of or things need to get done, you have to have a wife that can arrange to lose time at work and not lose the job in general. And then it says, it may mean a small cut in my wife's income from time to time, but I guess I can tolerate that. Very reluctant to, I can tolerate that, So, yeah, that's another thing to think about. And then it says, needless to say, my wife will arrange and pay for the care of the children while my wife is working. That sentence in itself is confusing. Needless to say, my wife will arrange and pay for the care of the children while my wife is working. But I thought she was supposed to take care of the children and work. So she herself isn't supposed to, but she is supposed to. I got very confused about this. I understand what he's trying to say, and I agree with it. I completely agree, because the message that he's trying to send is women have such unrealistic expectations just thrust upon them at all times. They're expected to do this long list of things and meet these high expectations when men have nothing. I mean, they don't have nothing in the sense they don't do anything, but I mean, they're a priority, they're the the bread makers of the household. They bring home the big bucks. They're the one that provides for our family. So I understand what he's saying in that sense, but it's just, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I understand what he's saying, and like I completely agree with it. And I think he's trying to point out the fact that women can't do it all. You know, women are given these just super unrealistic and unattainable expectations as a wife, just in general as women. And this type of satire is really pointing it out in a humorous way to try and get through to more people, especially men. When men read this, I can bet you money that they're going to say, oh, I want a wife that does that. I want a wife that does that. I want a wife that does that. But then at the end, you're going to say, whoa, that's a lot of stuff, That's almost impossible to maintain. Like, that is insane. So I think that's the point that Brady's trying to get across, is that men want their wives to do all these things without really realizing in its entirety how unattainable and just like exhausting it is. So I very much enjoyed this week's the readings, the videos. I really specifically enjoyed this not poem, but like the satire in this. So yeah.